Hey guys, it's Tim Gillette with the Tim Gillette Show, and I'm back here with another great guest today. All right, we have the wonderful Susan Sheppard. Now, I've known Susan for a long time, and I've always, I'm not sure if I had her on my old podcast or not, but Susan's been on my email list for a long time. And when I sent this out to the email list, saying, "Hey, you want to be on a podcast?" Susan's like, "Yeah, well, why not?" She's one of those people who takes advantages of every opportunity that is placed in front of her. That's what's made her successful over the years. All right. And made her unique. All right. She's not somebody who's just going to wait for it to come to her. She goes out and gets it. And I guess that's why her book, which I'm sure she'll take the name of, is, How to Get What You Want, or Getting What You Want. All right. Anyway, she'll explain it, I'm sure. I know this one a little bit more than I know my regular guests. But still, she is an awesome friend, and I'm glad to have her on the broadcast today. Let's see if we can keep her smiling or maybe laughing. Hi, Susan.
Hi, Tim.
Ready to be on a podcast again?
I am.
Yeah.
I'm going to have my own. I've been threatening to have my own for 2 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, probably since Stephanie started, maybe 6 years.
Is Stephanie? I haven't heard from Stephanie in a while. She's still doing the radio show?
No. Well, she's trying to rebuild it right now. She's working on rebuilding it. She actually has a job at the Pasadena Baking Company. She's a production manager. And she basically just got laid off. I mean, she's working 2 half days a week.
Yeah.
But she's around. You know, she's trying to redo the radio show, though. But she's been telling me to have a podcast for 6 years.
Yeah, she was really good on a radio show. I used to listen when she was on the regular radio station. I used to listen on an app she connected me with out here in Texas. I could listen to the show, and then I would send her text on things she was commenting on, and she'd be like, so then she changed the conversation because of the text I sent her. Yeah, she messed with me just like her mother does. Yeah.
No, really? I never messed with you, Tim.
Yeah. Anyway, So Susan, what have you been up to? All right. You know what I mean? The world's changing. All right. And I know that you're an adapter. You adapt to the world around you and you try to do things to help people. So tell me, what are you doing right now?
I've actually been isolating because I'm old. I'm over that age, way over that age where they say you're supposed to stay home. So I've been staying home. I've been working on rebuilding my website and doing some new stuff and getting ready to teach my How to Be a Really Nice Bitch class again. And today I kind of got pissed off. Oops, pardon my language. I guess I should behave, huh? Because people are so stupid about this COVID thing. They want to go out and play, and they don't want to sit at home anymore, and they don't realize how dangerous it is. So I kind of got annoyed on Facebook and posted a comment from a doctor that explained what this stuff really is, because it's really dangerous. And I renewed my RN license. I had to go and take a class and send it in and go get new fingerprints and do all this stuff to renew my nurse license because I really wanted to help. Stephanie was laughing at me. She said, "Mother, you're the only person I know who complains about not being involved in every disaster."
I
missed out. I missed out on disasters. I missed out on going to Vietnam because my husband married me instead. And I missed out on going to New Orleans when Katrina hit because I don't remember why, but I couldn't go. And I missed out on the riots because when I was running the ERs because I was between jobs when the LA riots happened. And I kept saying, well, I miss out on all this drama stuff. I want to go do something, participate.
So you really want you really want to take action and be on the front lines of helping people.
Yes, but I don't want to. I don't want to be stupid about it, because I am 76, and at 76, I probably should not be working in the ER, getting exposed to all those germs. Although I have pretty good immunity because I did spend 40 years in the ER. So, you get exposed to everything. So you build up a pretty decent immunity. So I don't think I'm going to get sick, but I'm also not going to be stupid about it.
You know, and you know what I mean? Like, you know, right now there's, you know, what I mean, as a nurse, there's a lot of people, a lot of advice you can give people. And yeah, there are people who are going to disagree with us on it. And I get that.
Hmm.
But, I mean, what is it that you're like your friends and family that you're able to keep touch with right now? What are you telling them to do?
Stay home.
Yeah. Anything other than stay home.
Stay home. Be safe.
Yeah.
Don't be stupid about it. The thing about this thing that's really, really dangerous is that people don't know they have it and they're transmitting it. And that's the most dangerous part about it. It's a very contagious thing, and some people get symptoms and some people don't. But you don't know you have it, and you can be transmitting it to people. And there's people out there who are very vulnerable. And I don't want to spend this whole thing talking about this COVID thing, but one of the things that I do, being a life coach, and I really haven't been a nurse since 2005. I haven't worked in the hospital since 2005. But I help people with stress. And so I put up a Facebook Live yesterday, and I said, look, if there's anybody out there that's scared or angry or frustrated or stressed and really just needs to talk to somebody, go to my website, push on the Talk with Susan button, and make an appointment and talk to me. I'll just talk to you. And my clients always tell me they feel better after they talk to me. So, I'll either make people feel better or feel worse.
Okay. Well, I mean, but I've known you always in the relationship field. All right.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And helping women, find the man they want. And right now that's a different world, isn't it?
It is. And this may be my own stuff, but I honestly don't think that that's a priority right now. I think people could be getting ready to do that. But in terms of going out and meeting new people, if we're staying home, you're not meeting people. Yes, you can go through your Match.com profile and update it and meet everybody who's ever sent you anything and talk to them on Skype or Zoom or wherever. But, and clean out your list. Do that kind of stuff. Develop your ability to talk to people. You can do that kind of thing. But as far as going out and actually meeting people, we shouldn't be doing that. It's not smart, And, the people who are, no, I don't even want to go there. Forget that. Let's not go there.
No, but there are things that we need to talk about that they are doing right now in meeting people, because, you help people really find, true relationships, not just the Saturday night fling. And the true relationships, there's some true ways to use this to actually really find out about the person and build relationships right now.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, the work that I do with people, it's really transformational work. I'm going to give away a big secret here. And it's not so much about going out and finding somebody. It's really about becoming the person you need to be to attract who you really want. So what happens when people work with me is they grow and they change and they become more gracious and smarter about who they're looking for, and understand, what it is, what are their deal breakers, and what are the things that make them attractive, and basically own their power, own their feminine power. Women do the choosing, women do the ending. All the smart people in the world know that.
Well, I mean, it's because you and I have joked. I always love the joke that you and I have talked about. If she's wearing a matching set of bra and panties, it wasn't your decision to have sex that night. Yeah.
Yes, Tim, we have that inside joke.
Yes, we do. And sorry, we just revealed it to the world. But hey, that's the type of personalities we are. We joke about that, but it's not all. Jokeness and seriousness onto it is right now. There are people who don't understand the value of building relationships at this time and really getting to know people. I met Gwen through eHarmony, and
Yeah.
There's a lot we knew about each other before we ever met in person.
Absolutely.
And
it's powerful.
Yeah.
It's really, it really is. It's very powerful. And, you know, one of my things about relationships is you need to be friends.
Mm-hmm,
You need to
mm-hmm.
be friends first,
Yeah, yeah.
because, you know, the romance and the infatuation and the absolute love and lust, it, it waxes and wanes. It comes back and goes away, you know. And so it's not always going to be at a fever pitch. But the reality is if you become friends and you really trust each other and know that you have each other's back and you become a team against the world, that's the most important part of a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It's really that I've told this to both of my son-in-laws. I've told them, I said, you know, when you get married, what happens is you become the head of your family. You become a unique primary family, and everybody else in your family, including your mother and your father and your brothers and your sisters, they all become extended family. And the only person that is the most important in your family is your spouse and your children.
Mm-hmm.
They're first.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to learn to do that. And so many people don't do that. You know, they stay attached to, and then their loyalties are split, and then the wives get mad and the husbands get mad, and you spend too much time with your mother and blah blah blah, you know, all that nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
And the reality is that if you're going to have a committed relationship, that one person has to be the number one person.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Mm-hmm.
has to be.
Yeah, yeah. You know, you and I have known each other quite a few years, and I've watched a lot of things that you've done that help promote your business.
Yep.
That are, you know what I mean? They're different. They're out there. They're on the edge. All right. But really, in a way of doing them, they kind of related and circled back to your business, which is
Everything
something.
relates.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is something I've always taught. You got to, if it doesn't relate to your business, why are you doing it? But anyway, you did a project a couple of years ago. That was a real fun project to watch
Yes,
happen.
it was.
Yeah, I want to talk about that project and get that story on my podcast. So
we can certainly talk about that project.
Yeah, let's talk about that project, because it was it was an innocent project, and unfortunately, there's a member of that crew that we lost recently.
Yes, there is.
So let's talk about it. Tell me about
Okay.
what you did, but then and how you came up with this idea.
I was actually watching Good Morning America, and Helen Mirren was on Good Morning America. She was talking about a new movie that she had just done. And I remembered that I had seen this movie that she was in called Calendar Girls.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I was sitting there thinking, I had been kind of brainstorming about something to do in the mastermind and something to do that related to all this relationship stuff and women and feminine power and all this stuff. And I thought to myself, you know, there's a lot of women in our mastermind that are over the age of 50, and we could do a calendar like that. So the next mastermind, I stood up and I said, hey, I was thinking about doing this calendar, this Calendar Girls calendar. So, but the only people who can participate have to be at least 50 years old. And we will, you know, have our professional photographer, and that was Stephanie at the time.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so we did the calendar, and Stephanie was fanatical about it being classy. So
Mm-hmm.
we called it the Women of Class,
Mm-hmm.
which is also ironically the name of my home study course is Love with Class.
Mm-hmm.
And so it all sort of fits together in a weird sort of way. So we did a calendar, and the calendar, it was great. It was a big success, and it was actually a transformational process for everybody who participated, because about half of those women said, I will never do that, before they did it. And then when we did it, I mean, we had the photo shoots in the hotel. I would get a suite, and then no men were allowed in the room. And we had a makeup person, and we had Stephanie with her camera stuff, and we had wine and snacks, and mostly wine.
Mm-hmm.
And people had costumes, and we got everybody naked first and then dressed. And, well, sort of dressed, you know, covered up.
Yeah.
Very tastefully covered up.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, we did do the calendar, and it was really fun to do it. And it was very inspirational to everybody who participated.
Mhm.
And you would not have known that any of those women was, well, some of them you might have known they were over 50, but most of them looked under 50.
Mhm.
And I was not the oldest person in the calendar. There was actually one person who was older than me. And that was the other Susan,
Mhm. Mhm.
the football Susan.
Yep. The football, female facts, football.
Football,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right.
And I haven't seen her in ages as well. I would love
Yeah.
to see her again, but yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we did that calendar. It was great. And actually, I have a couple of regrets about it. One is that we made it a calendar instead of a book. We should have made it a book because the calendar limited it because it was 2016. And so once 2016 was over, the calendar is basically outdated.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of a disappointment to me. But, you know, at the time when we did it, we didn't know what we were doing. It was one of those things where let's do this, and we did it. And so we did the pictures, we did the mock-up, we did everything, and then we decided to start marketing it. And of course, we didn't know who was going to buy it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
It was not exactly the most thought out project, but it was really fun, and I think it was transformational for everybody that did it, because the people who did this thing, I can remember at least 3 people telling me there is no way I would ever participate in a project like that ever again in my ever in my life. And then they did it.
Yeah.
And thanked me and said, wow, that was amazing. And it was, because it's going out of your comfort zone and doing something. And anytime you go outside your comfort zone and do something, you expand who you are.
Mm-hmm.
You grow and you become a better person in some way.
Yeah. I remember it was a phenomenon when it did it. It's like everybody wanted to get one because they wanted to be part of, I mean, not because it was dirty, because no, everybody wanted to be part of our whole community jumped on it. We all want to be part of it. All of us bought 1 or 2 or 3. All right. Because it united a community. Yeah. All right. And it was our mastermind community, but as well as Craig's entire community had this boot camp that really everybody wanted one.
I know.
You know? And it became motivational. Yeah.
Oh, the fun part was, we did it. And when I first presented it, actually 24 women signed up, 24. Mm-hmm. So I had enough to do 2 years worth, but we just kind of ran out of money to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's okay. I mean, you did it. You know what I mean? You put a project out and you did it, but it related to your business. You know what I mean?
Of course.
Because of what, because of what you do. But I do have to say, there was one guy in the calendar. Can we talk about the one guy who actually made the calendar? And he is yet to be on my podcast.
He has his own podcast.
He does. But it became the start of a joke series with me. Yeah. And that was Joe. It was Joe.
Yeah. Joe DiCharo, yes. Yeah. And he was a little teeny icon in the bottom of the calendar on the back page. And he was the only male that had anything to do with it. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. And he got his picture. He kept saying he wanted to be in the calendar, and so ultimately he got to be in the calendar. He was sort of like an elf on that.
Yeah. But I took the picture, all right, and this was the start about me playing jokes on Craig at his boot camp. As I took the picture, and I got the sound guy, all right, with his screen at the conference. All right, there's 350 people in this room, and Craig looks down, the host of the conference, to do something on his page, and I had the sound guy flash that picture on the screens, all right, and Craig didn't see it at first, all right, and then and people were laughing, all right, and it came down, and Craig looked up and caught it on the preview monitor, and he goes, well, what was that? All right, so we flashed it back up, and Craig goes, Joe, did you see what they did to you? And Joe's like, why would you do that to me? All right, Craig goes, I didn't.
We had a lot of fun, really, the entire project. And it took us like almost a year to do the project. Mm-hmm. Total, between the photo shoots and because we only did it when people were in town, and then doing the graphics and getting it put together and getting it printed and getting it all done. It took almost a whole year to do it.
Mm-hmm. And it was something that really, I mean, but it did. It united a community. And some of you go, you know what I mean? You're afraid to do something. Go do something like that. Put yourself out there. Yes, try to make it relate to your business like Susan did because she's in a relationship business. But why not? I mean, you agree with that? I mean, like take a chance.
Well,
Again,
yeah. I mean, it's like the book publishing. That was the same sort of idea.
Mm-hmm,
You know, the books we published and the stories that I put in those compilation books we did, they were all about relationship and
mm-hmm,
moving forward and taking risks and going out of your comfort zone and, all of the things that I talk about.
mm-hmm.
And so I just think that you have to keep doing something. I mean, my kids sometimes get annoyed with me and saying, why can't you just be a grandma and be retired? I said, because people who retire and sit down and do nothing die, and I don't intend to do that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And it's like really renewing my nurse license. I only made it inactive in December of 2018, and then when this happened, it was like, oh no, I need to reactivate it.
Yeah, well,
And not that I'm going to go back to work. I mean, if I do go back to work, I'm going to do telephone work.
oh, okay.
Because I just don't think I should be
You
out there.
probably, yeah, in close with the people right now probably would not be the best thing for you. Yeah.
No, it's not. And I'm, I don't have any underlying disease. I'm very healthy. I'm very strong. And, I don't get sick,
Mm-hmm.
unless I do something stupid. And then when I do stupid things, I get sick.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, yeah. So over the years, Susan, you've you've done a lot of things in your lifetime. All right, I want you to share some of them. All right, number one, the nursing, but go back and share that history. And really because people don't understand when you say, I don't want to stop. They don't understand of how many lives you've lived. You know what I mean? And you really lived them. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yes, I've been a registered nurse since 1964. I was 17 when I went to nursing school, 20 years old when I graduated, went to work in the ER and stayed there for 40 years. In addition to that, I think I've started somewhere close to 12 businesses.
Mm-hmm.
Not alone, mostly with partners and stuff. But the first one was I sold waterbed sheets in the 80s. We were manufacturers rep for a waterbed sheet production guy. And that business, we sold so much, he couldn't produce it all, so he absorbed our company into his sales department.
Mm-hmm.
Then the next thing I did after that was I became a headhunter in the oil industry and recruited geologists and geophysicists for the oil companies. I did that on the phone and started a company with a bunch of my friends. And we did that right about the time when the oil glut occurred. And one day we had hundreds of jobs, and the next day there were geologists standing on the corner and saying, we'll work for food. So we learned a lot about diversification and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I worked for Michael Gerber as a business development specialist doing small business development.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I did that right after I got my business degree. And then, let's see, what else have I done? I have a movie production company that I still have. Did a lot of music videos and informational videos and teaching videos and commercials. Lots and lots of commercials. Commercials for the country of South Korea and for a lot of, I worked with a Korean producer.
Mm-hmm.
And so we did a lot of commercials for Hyundai and Samsung and all the subsidiaries. And then I have a public publishing company,
Mm-hmm.
and when I was publishing my first book, I published it with iUniverse, and then I said, well, why should they get everything? I'm going to have my own publishing company. So I made a publishing company, and we've published quite a few books from there with that. I had a consulting company when I was consulting with doctors on how to make their practice work better. And that was right after I did the Michael Gerber stuff. I started doing that. So, and I was a business consultant. And then, I don't know, that's kind of all the stuff I've done.
Mm-hmm.
There might be a few other things I've forgotten. Oh, one more.
Yeah.
I was I had a construction company with a partner, and we built custom homes and did painting and decorating.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
I ran the business basically. I did the estimates and the sales and the cost accounting and the collections, and he ran the crews.
Mhm, mhm.
And I remodel houses.
Just
That's
and
it.
just and I remodel houses. I love that, man. Like, it's just a every now and then I just throw a house in there and remodel it. Yeah.
Well, that sort of came about because when my house burned down, I redesigned it and supervised it being rebuilt. It took a while to get that done, but yeah, I mean, I love old houses and I like restoring old houses.
Mhm,
So that's one of the things that I do. But mostly, I mean, I like to write books. I'm an author.
mhm, mhm.
I've been in 6 different books, but I've published 2 of my own, and the third one is in editing, but it's been in editing for more than a year. So I basically should get on it and finish it. I have my website and I have my coaching clients.
Mhm,
I've been a relationship coach now going on 30 years.
mhm, mhm.
And I was a bit, like I said, a business coach before I became a relationship coach. And what happened was I got divorced and I took a whole bunch of courses to learn how to do relationships better. And then I met this young man. He was considerably younger, 18 years younger than me. We didn't date very long though, because his mother and I were the same age. And he went back to an old girlfriend. And then they had a very dramatic relationship for a couple of years. And then I ran into her and she said, "Oh, I'm so happy to see you." And I'm like, "No, you're not. You don't even like me." And she said, "Well, you're right. I don't like you, but you have something I want." And I said, "Well, what's that?" And she said, "The kind of relationship." And she asked me to teach her what I knew about relationships.
Oh, wow.
And I said no at first, but she kept asking. And so finally I agreed to do it on a limited basis. I said, "All right, we'll do this for a while, but no funny stuff."
Mhm,
She
mhm.
ended up being my first relationship client because it was more fun talking about love and sex than it was management and marketing.
Well, yeah, yeah, I can see that, you know what I mean? But it's also, it's something you grow passionate about, and when you grow passionate about
Yeah.
something, that's what you wanna do, you know, and I see
Yeah.
so many people in our coaching in coaching trying to do, you know what I mean, something because they think they should do it instead of tweaking it to what they really are good at, you know what I mean? And you figured out,
What's funny for me is I've tried to quit so many times in the past 30 years, but then somebody will come along and ask me, "Will you do this with me?" And I start doing it and I fall in love with it all over again. So
mhm,
it's something I know I have to do. It's just saving lives a different way.
mhm,
Honestly, I saved lives in the ER for 40 years and now I just save lives a different way.
good,
It's emotionally. And I know that the work that I do makes a difference and changes people's lives. They have different lives after they work with me.
mhm,
The 35-year-olds who want to get married and have kids now are married and have kids. The 55-year-old widow who wanted to get married again and this time have somebody to take care of her, she's retired now and happily touring the world,
mhm.
with a really lovely gentleman who adores her. And so, I know that the work that I do makes a difference. I'm just a big secret though, because the marketing part is not fun for me. I don't like it. I don't
Mhm.
mind the selling part. I love talking to people. I'll talk to anybody, anytime about anything. So I can do that part. But the the part to put myself out there and doing the social media and that kind of stuff, it's not me.
Yeah.
And
But
so
you are a good marketer, like, when you did the calendar, that's good marketing, it's just not the social media marketing, and it goes back to what you like to do. You love the
right.
project, but being on social media or doing the podcast like I do is just maybe it doesn't thrill you, but you've gotta find a way to work in marketing the way you like it.
Yeah.
And you're really good at when you find the areas you love, you go all out in it. Yeah.
Well, I'm working on a project right now, and that is I'm going to market my How to Be a Really Nice Bitch class.
Mhm, mhm,
And I like having one on one clients. I don't like a lot of them, but I like having them. The ones that are my favorite ones are the ones who've had serial bad relationships and keep attracting the same person in different bodies. And those are the ones I love the most because I get to work with them and they grow. and change and get transformed into being who they really want to be to attract the real person they want to attract. And that's significant for me. I know that when I get to work with somebody like that, they're going to have a better life and they're going to love themselves, because that's step 2 of my class program is the love yourself step. And they will love themselves and they have a better life. And just getting to do that is such a passionate thing. I mean, I love it. It's the way I get to make a difference in the world. You know, I made a difference in the world saving lives for years, and that was good. And I did it for a really long time, a lot longer than a lot of people do in the ER, because I loved it. But then there was a point where I said, I'm done. And then I thought, well, what am I going to do next? And then I remembered I wanted to be a life coach. And I thought, oh, I could change people's lives, maybe. Yeah. Didn't know what I was talking about. But the truth is, I know that's what I do. I know that that's the effect that people have when they work with me, that they become, I don't know, riskier. They take more chances. They expand their life. They get to be bigger people because they take risks and go outside their comfort zone, and they grow a little, and they own their personal power more. And it's really what it's about. You know, transformation is all about owning your personal power. Being the best person you can be.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I want to talk about this class. Tell me a little bit about this class, all right, and share with the audience what it's about, all right, what truly some of the objectives are in the class, because it's an interesting class.
The How to Be a Really Nice Bitch class?
Yep.
Well, bitch stands for brave, intelligent, tenacious, creative, honest woman. That's what it stands for. Women get called bitches when they stand up for themselves in the workplace, particularly if you whereas men can do it and get away with it because that's what they do. But when women stand up for themselves and ask for what they want, they get called a bitch. And so I said, what if being a bitch is just owning your power? And you don't have to be a mean bitch. You don't have to be a backstabbing bitch. What you can be is somebody who knows what you want and asks for it, and asks for it in a way that someone can hear you. And my Love with Class program, C stands for clarity. What do you want? What kind of life do you want? What kind of relationship do you want? The L is the love yourself, which is the process that I put people through to really identify who they are, what their values are, what kind of person they really want to share their life with, and what are the deal breakers? What are the things that, you just can't tolerate? And the reality is that everybody has deal breakers, and they're all different. I mean, they can be anything from, I don't want to have kids, or, I don't want the toilet seat left up, or I don't like the way you squeeze the toothpaste. I mean, it can be something that simple all the way to religion and politics and money and all that stuff. So, but you have to identify what they are. But the love yourself step is the most critical part of this transformational work. Then A stands for learn how to ask for what you want. There's a formula for asking for what you want from anybody. And the formula is really simple. It's acknowledge, ask, and appreciate. And know that you're asking the right person, because you can ask for something for somebody who can't give it to you. But if you ask the right person and you do it with this method of acknowledge, ask, and appreciate, you probably will get it. Yeah. The first S of class stands for success with essential ingredients, which is chemistry, compatibility, and love with respect. Those are things, if you are missing any one of those, your relationship is pretty doomed. And the last S stands for step up and step out. Yeah. So what I teach in the How to Be a Really Nice Bitch class is the feminine power part. It's about owning who you are. And it includes a lot of those elements of the class program, but it's basically the starting point. Okay. It's like just own the person that you are and be who you are, and realize you don't have to change for anybody. You don't have to give up who you are to attract somebody. You can be who you are and realize that there's somebody out there who's looking for you.
Mm-hmm. True. So it's interesting because really a lot of people didn't think of it that's what it really was. That's why I wanted you to explain it, because I knew what it was, and it's a very self-explanatory program, and it does actually have a good side. It's not meant to be a bad side. So yeah.
What happens when people do this and they do the work that I tell them to do is they become really very nice people.
Mm-hmm.
They become really gracious and more attractive than they ever were. And they don't even realize it because it happens very gradually.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Cool. So, Susan, if they want to find out about this class, or if they want to find out more about you, what is a website or a place that they can connect with you to get that information?
They can go to susansheppard.com. And this afternoon, I will have a Talk with Susan button on that site.
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to be ready this afternoon. And it will take you to a calendar where you can book an appointment to talk to me. Mm-hmm. And there's no charge to talk to me. I love talking to people, especially now that I've been in isolation for a month. I don't get to talk to that many people, so, and I like to talk a lot, in case you hadn't noticed.
So yeah, I know. There's like I'm an introvert. I'd rather be at home, but like when I'm at events, I'm out there talking with people. But like this morning I go to Starbucks, and like I drove through the drive-through, and in front of me is a guy. Normally, if we run into each other at Starbucks, we always sit down and talk to each other and chat. He's in front of me, and he notices my truck in the drive-through. So he stands up on his car and he goes, so we pull over to the side, and like we're talking across the car because we're keeping our distance, right? And it's like, he said, man, I love you, man. I miss you. And I'm like, I want to come have coffee with you, but we can't, right? I said, well, we're going to have to do it through the car for a couple seconds. And we miss it. You know what I mean? We want connection.
Well, I love your happy hour thing. I love that concept.
Yeah. And I'm going to limit it. I'm not going to do it every night of the week anymore. I'm trying to, this series here really put a lot of work on my plate that I got up to now. So I'm like, but going forward, I think I'm going to do it like 1 or 2 nights a week, just to be a continued thing because it goes on.
Well, but it's so cool because Zoom, I love Zoom. Mm-hmm. First of all, I've done Zoom with my nurse friends. I have about 5 friends. We call ourselves the Divas that we've been friends for about 35 years and have worked together in many different places. And so we all get on the Zoom and catch up. And that's kind of how I know what's going on in the hospital and stuff, because they're all still working. They're all younger than me.
Yeah. Well.
I'm old.
Well, SusanSheppard.com, all right, is where they can find you. Susan, I appreciate you being on the show, but I've got to wrap this up, and I play a game to wrap up my show. I'm not sure you're aware of my game. I've got this list I like to call This or That.
Oh.
And I've got about 9 questions that 2 different choices. You pick which one you like.
Okay. Some
of them may relate to you. Some of them, they're general because I want to know. And there you'll be like, and just pick one and whatever. Or I don't know. I don't know what they are. It's okay. It's designed to be fun. It's designed to let people know a little lighter side of you. Not that we ever wouldn't find out a lighter side of you, but anyway, I always like to start it off to find out who the geeks are and the science fiction nerds are and who they aren't. So I ask, Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars.
Star Wars. Were you big into the original trilogy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've watched them all several times.
Oh.
When they come on and the whole series is on, I binge watch them.
Oh, yeah. So I think we have them recorded just in case there. So this next one here can be controversial. Some people say this doesn't belong, and some people say, yes, it does. But pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
No.
No? Why?
I'm a bell pepper and onions vegetarian pizza person.
Oh, okay. All right. How about right now, when if you were able to get into your car and go somewhere, would you listen to a podcast or music?
Both.
Both?
Both.
So you're listening to Garth Brooks' podcast where he's playing, right?
No, I will. Sometimes I have the music on and the podcast. So I have the podcast on my headset and the music on in the car.
Oh, wow. Cool. I didn't know that. Next one here, I think I kind of know, but I'm going to ask anyway, and that is beer or wine?
Wine.
Wine. Red or white?
Depends. Red, probably.
Red. Okay. I don't know if there's some people are like, one person just, they said wine, red only. I'm like, okay, I guess you know what you want.
No, I do both.
Yeah. So this next one here, all right, food wise, you're going to order tacos or a hamburger?
Tacos.
Tacos? Yeah. Get that one too. How about, would you rather dress up or wear yoga pants?
Yoga pants.
Yoga pants? All right. Yeah. I've never seen you in yoga pants. I've only seen you dressed up in dresses when you come to the event. So, yeah. If you go to the movies, will you get popcorn or candy?
Popcorn.
And does it have the butter onto it or no?
Butter.
Yeah, all buttered up and going to enjoy that sucker. This next one here is one that's the biggest controversial question that I ask. All right. It divides people, nations, couples, and everything over this one. And that is toilet paper, under or over?
Over.
Over. All right. Is that a do not one of your do nots do not accept on your?
My daughter, who lives with me,
Yeah.
does it under, and I change it every time.
So speaking of what you do, last week or 2 weeks ago, I had Cammie Baker on from up in New Hampshire, and Cammie said, if I'd start dating a guy and I go to his house, I will change the toilet paper and put it over for him 2 times. On the 3rd time, I break up with him. All right, this isn't a relationship that's meant to be, and I had to share
That's
that.
a deal breaker. That's a deal breaker.
Deal breaker. I said it could actually have wars, but anyway. And my last one: boxers or briefs?
Boxers.
Boxers. See, my game's not that hard.
Yeah.
So
No.
anyway, so and it's all meant to be fun. But anyway, so one more time, tell everybody, even on the audio version, so they hear your website.
SusanSheppard.com.
Yep.
If they want to talk to me, it's talk with Susan and just book a time.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Cool. Well, thank you.
And that's actually a gift because, I used to charge for those things.
Yeah. And right now, many of them, like I have a thing on my site, same thing. I'm offering consultations for ideas right now, and I've given a few of them out over the last couple of weeks. We're talking with businesses that normally wouldn't call me, but they're calling me now because restrictions have been released, and you offer it. And in a time like this, you definitely offer it.
Well, if somebody wants to talk to me, they can talk to me about relationships. They can talk to me about stress or anger or sadness or any of that, or they can talk to me about business.
Okay.
I mean, literally, I'm available to talk about anything.
Cool.
And I have a variety, as you heard, of experience. So I can talk about a lot of stuff.
Cool. So, well, Susan, I thank you for being on the show today, and appreciate you coming.
Thank you for having me.
Sure. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you, our guest, for coming in today, and I hope you go get to know Susan Sheppard like I have over the years. All right, go to her website, check her out. All right, take advantage of that call if you need it right now. She's there for you. You guys, I appreciate you, the listeners, for tuning in, and please go subscribe to us on YouTube, and subscribe on Anchor FM, and over on iTunes. I'm Tim Gillette with Susan Sheppard, my guest today. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Bye now.
Thanks, Tim. Bye.
Thank you.